From me see the face and hear the voice, you don't know this is the voice that Dyani I present for what? The biggest and the baddest, VIPER. Definitely was amazing. My first time, that was with Massacre. Me alongside Massacre. O2. Great experience, first time there. Enjoyed it, had fun. Would like to do it again. I would say, I want to be politically correct, but more love. Jamaica get so much artists, so, very quick pace. So the reception has been amazing. I can't complain. I enjoyed every moment. I don't think it's harder to become an artist. I think it's harder to become like a legend. Seeing that the space is so overly saturated, a lot of competition, a lot of new faces as well. But with the competition, it also breeds new talent, new ideas, and sparks new music as well. Which is why Jamaica is like the hub of new music. But with that being said, I think it's just up to you to determine if you want to be, see how far you want to reach. I think it varies because for me, I'm more focused on quality over quantity. Because I'm that type of artist. I sing. I'm not like a DJ, like a hardcore DJ. So with that being said, I try to make sure I'm more consistent in the quality of music that I produce, whether it be production, writing, or visuals. With that being said, I try to make sure I'm more consistent in the product more than the quantity of the product. Comparisons like, Dexter Daps, Chris Martin, Jermaine Virgos, I would most likely fall in a lane like that. However, I do like have songs that fall in the lane of like dancehall, trap dancehall, but heavily based, more singing. I'm a vocalist. I try to emit as much emotion as possible through the music. Try to create a connection, whether by soul or whether by by feeling. And that was also the intention of my music. Very soulful, very sincere, very truthful as well. And I always try to make sure that it evokes some emotion sometime. That's like lyrical content, very, hardcore dancehall, very like punching, and more gritty in comparison to like songs like Feelings, which is more like soft, more intimate. But I think that's based on the type of artist I am. I'm very like diverse, eclectic as well. But ultimately, the core is still like along Feelings, along like those type of songs which, embraces female empowerment, female sexuality, sensuality as well, and just female confidence in total. Definitely, more sensual. I did that intentionally because obviously the space is extremely saturated with that type of music. With that being said, I always try to do my music strategic as well, to make sure that I feed a certain market that has not been fed in a sense, and I think that's a market that is like under, what I say, like underutilized or either under like even underexposed in terms of like love music. Because when I was growing up, it was heavily like lovers rock culture, and then you have dancehall, which is like a different aspect of what the culture is. So I'm trying to keep that culture alive. Lovers rock. In this era, love is very undervalued. For me as an artist, I try to use love as my scope, as my my light as an artist, and I think I try to deliver the message based off love and try to make sure that you feel love and understand that love is actually real, love is valued, and it is valuable, and is actually one of the most valuable things in society that is very underappreciated. So, especially in my society, in dancehall and reggae music, but not reggae music, because reggae music really idolizes what love is and the feeling of love. So yeah, I think that's my intention, and that is my intention. That I think. Definitely, which is very interesting for me. The intention was for me to make the girlfriend or the significant other feel as a wife, and I think for the most part, not every woman would want to be a wife, but for the most part, I think most women would like to be. When I was going through heartbreak, I think I'm the most creative, to be honest. But I'm most creative in the aspect of like writing on what I would like to feel in terms of like the positive side more than writing based off of a negative aspect of what love is. I find it hard to write a bad love song, like a heartbreak love song. I think because I don't like hold on to it, as well as I think just it varies. I do write songs that like shows heartbreak, which is like vengeance, which is like a more like hard punching, gritty, like tit for tat type of song. which is a different spin of what love is. But for the most part, when I do go through heartbreak, actually I'm very creative. Probably should go through more heartbreak, sadly. Lose Me, not nice records, great production. That song basically was, as I said earlier, about heartbreak and how I dealt with it. I tried to deal with it. It was very petty in a sense, to say the least. But for the most part, it represented what feelings that I had regarding that situation, and I think I expressed it in its entirety and as truthful as possible, as a typical Jamaican man going through heartbreak. You know. It varies. I have my own like niche of producers that I've been working with from like inception of the career. Like produced by Mari Fuse, Frank White, which made big bunks with him as well. But regarding like anybody like send me a beat, I think for me it's just like how you deal with music, and how much you put value on it. Because most times when you do like the music, most of the producers just wait on like organic reach more than placing a value on the actual effort of production, writing, and creating a product and marketing a product. So the list goes on because big up Triton because he has been really good in that aspect as well. Not nice, as I said earlier, and the list goes on. Daseka as well. Big up Daseka as well. I don't think so. I think most cases they still do reach out because I think a good song is still a good song regardless of the genre, and I think I do make good songs. So I do find a difficulty in terms of connecting with like different producers from different spaces, such as trap dancehall or even like reggae or even dancehall itself. So it varies. I'm from an era where like rhythms was like what determined like the culture. It basically steered the culture. Reggae rhythm, like you have drop leaf rhythm, which was hits after hits on each rhythm, which was reggae rhythm as well as dancehall. So I don't think I'm like as attached. Like it's not as attached for me regarding my song being on a rhythm or on a juggling. I think it's just good songs. 'Cause at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Good songs. Spirituality. Yeah. It's very soulful. And when I say that, even with like trap dancehall, they really are speaking their truth. They're being as honest as possible, So, regardless of how it may sound or like how derogatory it is, this is something that is happening, and it is being expressed by somebody that has been going through or is going through the situation that we are going through, So I think it's not as fabricated, very to the point, very real, very down a yard, very down a town and very, very authentic, which is why I think it's so gravitational for most people. Copycats don't make it, Real music actually does make it, How you feel, what you're feeling, the vibe itself, and how you make people feel. Because for the most part, music is a big thing in Jamaica because it's almost like not necessarily a pastime, but it helps through trauma. It helps through a lot of stuff that is going on because there's a lot of negativity that, what I say now, projected in the space. But music is just that outlet of expression, When you can express it, a man like Chronic Law can express it, or Popcorn, or likes of Dyani, or the likes of a Bob Marley. So I think that's why it's so important to the culture, And it's just so ingrained. It's very ingrained. You can go like down the road and you hear like oldest man singing the latest music, and the youngest child singing the oldest song, because it's a part of our culture. It's a part of our lifestyle. It's how we function. It's king, and then it's a clash of just different genres, different generations, and just a different feeling, So I love it. I love music. I love Jamaican music. I love the culture. I call it like karaoke bathroom, where my favorite song at the time, let's say a Dennis Brown or let's say a Chris Brown, and I'll be like belting out in the bathroom, sounding good or sounding bad, didn't matter to me because that was my audience, the mirror, and the water, because I should be bathing at the time, and just singing, depending on what the time, the vibe I was in, the mood I was in, I was just singing, like singing my heart out, belting my heart out, trying to sound like whichever person that was at the time, And at the time it was like Dennis Brown, Jack Ure, and the list goes on, Even like being like a Movad at the time, I was just singing, and that's how I got my practice, that's how I got my confidence, that's how I got my sound. That's how I even became Dyani today, Just singing to myself and continue singing. I've been singing from young now, but not in church. Single parent household, so mom was always on work, To occupy my time was music and singing music. Other than, typical teenage playing football and, phone. But for the most part, it was always music. Always trying to imitate the sound that I've been hearing, And that was an important part of my growth as an artist, Because it helped me with writing, understand the structure of music, understanding like what sounds work, what sounds doesn't, and yeah, horrible. I can't even express that song, but it was a good experience. Funny enough, when I wrote the first song, it was at Shocking Vibes, which was where Cartel and Popcorn were recording at the time during Clark's period. Yeah, that's how I really was influenced to become an artist because at the time, Jimmy Roberts, which was like Patrick Roberts' son, was like where, YVP was where Popcorn hung out and Cartel was hanging out, and being there and like seeing the experience or having the experience of seeing them while making music, was very, very important in terms of work ethic and understanding like, oh, this is how it works. Yeah, it inspired me in terms of music. Most part, yeah, for most people, yeah, definitely. It was a great experience, seeing like just the aspect of it, because I was like the outskirts, looking in, So, in my uniform, and I go studio. So, it was a vibe. I'm gonna be biased, yeah. I do feel more inspiration, but if I'm being objective, I think I find inspiration from life itself mostly, experiences, other person's experiences as well. For the most part, yeah. I think it's just experiences of what life has to offer, ups and downs, good and bad, tears and laughter, joy and happiness, and joy and sadness. So I think that's my biggest inspiration in terms of what drives me to make the music or try to create the music. I try to create every day, to be honest. But I think I'm for now it's just like a diary of my experiences. I've been writing based off of like what I've been seeing, like how I've been feeling, and basically the canvas is the music. For the most part, how I've been feeling is jotted down in the music. You probably don't hear those music now or in the probably future, but for the most part, music is my diary. I think the fundamentals is the same, but probably the sound would differ in terms of production. For instance, the song I released, Ambiance, the production was more international versus, what I say, local. Not saying that local space doesn't create international music, but in terms of like the sounds, even the producers I work with, big up Fuse, big up Aviv as well, which is a different scope of what I was hearing, and I appreciate it because it brought me out of the box of what I thought was, good music as well. I'm not saying that it's not good music, but, a different aspect of it, a different side of it. Yeah, experimentation is always a means of growth for me because obviously, you need to understand something to be able to experiment with something else. So, with that being said, I always try to grow in my sound, in terms of production, in terms of the product itself, and me as an artist, And I grow every day as a human, I learn, having new experiences as well. And funny enough, I think I've been experimenting with Afrobeat like 2 or 3 years before like the boom of Afrobeats. Because I've been a fan of like the space as well. I've made a couple collaborations like in Nigeria, Ghana as well. Me and Stoneboy are cool. So I've known about the sound before the sound was like the sound itself. So yeah, I've been experimenting. But I think ultimately I'm just trying to make some good music, some real music, some meaningful music, some soulful music, and some music that really touches the person that listens to it has some impact some way, you know, somehow, and that was my intention. Yeah, we're in the works. That's why I'm here, obviously, to produce a body of work for the future. With Ambiance is our great step forward. Excuse me. But definitely, Ambiance is definitely intentional. The intention, trying to get that world sound with a Jamaican feel, and Jamaican vibe same way, and just being my authentic self, pretty much. I have written for persons, especially like my more hardcore dancehall vibe. Um, some songs definitely will fit the brand itself, and you have to make certain decisions to make sure that the song doesn't go to waste, because a song is only as good as the person that delivers it. And I do think I could be the person to deliver the song. So I do give these songs to like artists, and obviously you have your paperwork and agreements for those songs. But for the most part, I do write. I love writing. I think that's my safe space. For the most part, I love experimenting with my writing as well, and I do give this person that I think I want to hear the sound from the songs. Yeah, very selective. I think for me, in terms of collaborations, it's definitely not just about the person. I think it's about the execution of the sound itself. Um, so yeah, you can be like the biggest artist, but not executing the sound how I think it should be executed really does the song a disservice. And I try not to do music a disservice, because I really cherish it. It really put me where I am today. Music is the reason why I'm here in this chair with you. And I try to I hold it high value, high regard, and I hold myself accountable with the music I create and whoever I create the music with. Very selective, very intentional, and very meaningful in the creation or the creative process of this music. So yeah, I'm an offering, so I want my offering to be the best. Queen Kingdom, yeah, amazing person, amazing artist, amazing voice as well. Yeah, Feelings, big song. The story of Feelings. I can't even say it too much. I can't even say enough, I should say, because that song was just amazing for me in terms of how it even was created, how she even heard the song, and how the song blew up after that. And seeing and being like the person who created the music and seeing where it reached or where it has risen to is like beyond words to explain. But long story short, she heard the music from her sister, and from then she fell in love, and she reached out to me humbly, say I would definitely love to be a part of it. And I said, yeah, you can ask me that. I'll be saying like, yeah man, I'll get the studio time, I'll bring the studio to you. And she got it done, did an amazing job. The song, amassed more than 30 million in terms of just views, and next 5 million in terms of streams and more, which is like massive, from just me, just my diary, expressing my feelings, expressing how I was feeling at the moment and how I would like love to feel for me, and seeing how it made other persons feel in love and hold on to love is like very meaningful and very like one of those core memories for me as a musician, So big up Mama anyway there, but always I represent. When the moment is right, it is right. Feelings was never planned. And I think they want more based off of like, obviously because we make good music together, but because I think they are trying to recreate our next feelings or aspect of feelings. And I don't think I want to even try to recreate that. That was just a special moment. If I'm trying to create something, it's definitely to create, not to recreate. That was a moment in history and a moment in time for me and her. And I think we leave it as is. And if we're making some new music based off of what we're feeling at the moment, we do that. But I'm not in a rush, to be honest. It'll be good, but I think we'll do what we need to do. We did what the assignment was. Dennis Brown. Yeah, man. Dennis Brown. Great artist. Great writer as well. The words can't really express so much, I respect the artist himself, Definitely one of the persons I look up to in terms of where I see myself, wanting to see myself like. Although I can't compare each man's journey is a different journey, but definitely he does inspire me a lot in terms of how I approach music, Bob Marley as well definitely approaches music on a spiritual level. I really try to use that as my means of creating this music, creating the offering that I have, and use it in the right way, intentionally. Now, whichever way that may be, because right way is very subjective, depending on how you look at it, So, definitely those two are basically the person that really inspire the sound, inspire like the intention, and inspires like how I approach the music. Yeah, the list goes on though, because you have like Lauryn Hill, definitely. I'm more like a sound person. I love sound. I like how, people make me feel with their voices and the words together. Because the pot, it takes more than just seasoning to make the pot nice. So it's a lot of stuff to make the pot really nice and make the music really nice. So the emotion, the sound, production, the writing, and how it make me feel, and the space I'm at in as well, In the period of where like reggae was influencing like the punk rock scene in London, I think the message was the same, which was basically to rebel against oppression, whichever means the punk rock scene was being oppressed by, obviously, whatever this, they were being oppressed, the government was, and Jamaican was being oppressed by, obviously, the government. So I don't think we necessarily inspired, but I think we gave a voice to what they were feeling, So they had their own inspiration, but this was the sound of the inspiration, in a sense. So yeah, I think based off of that, but I think UK has their own thing I go on, own vibe I create, Definitely, you have Jamaican influence by the lingo, the vibe and stuff, but I think it's still a melting pot of different cultures, because I hear a lot of, Afrobeat, which is African influence, dancehall influence, as well as, even pop influence as well, and classical influences, which basically is like a melting pot of different sounds. So yes and no to that question. It varies on how you look at it. As I said with Portland, you have a vinyl Sundays. Vinyl Sundays? Yeah, which is like, not necessarily just oldies, but like great music from back then. Like, if you know vinyl Sundays, you know the type of music that is being presented, and it's amazing to see like the response of like not just the locals, but the persons who travel from all over the world just to enjoy the experience on the side of the road, like a bad road. As I listen to some real good music, no bad vibes, just your vibe and just some good music. So it's just good music. I think that's the ultimate goal for any artist, is just to create good music, create some timeless sounds and meaningful sounds. Not everyone going to be timeless or meaningful, but as long as the intention is there, that's what matters. I think as I get older, it changes, and when I said that with like much more or less, it varies, because back then I was like, I wanted my song to play on the radio, check off the bucket list, I wanted to tour, check off the bucket list, I wanted to do O2, check off the bucket list. So it varies as I get older in my thoughts, in me as a person, and my process of thinking as a human as well as an artist, because, there's a balance of the pendulum, because as much as I want to be an artist, I'm human first. So I guess my bucket list is just to enjoy making music as long as possible, because we can fall out of love of stuff that we've loved so much, And I really don't want to be that place where I don't feel in love in what I do. So yeah, that's on my bucket list. We keep on loving the process of making what I'm feeling. When I was like, I don't even know, I was like super young. If I was supposed to tell her the age, I couldn't tell her. When I was like in my father lived in America at the time. He was in a basement. And in New York, they have like sound culture. So like they were like the dubs that play, and some songs were playing, like Promised Land was one of them, which is why I love Dennis Brown so much. Like I was just singing that song, unhinge and stop. I don't have no reason, I don't have no purpose of singing the song. I don't even know what the song meant. But I love singing, I love the way it sound, I love how it made me feel, and I think it was that moment I was captured by emitting sound, or emitting emotion through sound. Yeah, I think that was a moment.